Don't just move to Arizona and think you're going to find your house in less than 30 days. Don't just move here and think you're going to find a apartment or a house to rent in less than 30 days. So in this video, my friends, I'm going to deep dive on how to buy a house in Arizona when moving to Phoenix, Arizona, because you just don't want to come here, think that you're going to purchase a house right away, because that is just not the case. So this video is for everybody who's thinking about how to buy a house in Arizona right now when moving to Phoenix, Arizona, because it is difficult. I mean, home prices are high. Interest rates are going up. I mean, I believe they're like in the 4.675% right now. We have high demand, very, very low supply, just like across the United States. But Arizona is a destination now for all. So if you're on the how to buy a house in Arizona when moving to Phoenix, Arizona, this video is just for you. And I'm going to break down some great tips for you so you can have some knowledge on what I'm doing with my out-of-state clients who are buying a house here in Phoenix, Arizona, and they're moving here to Phoenix, Arizona. And these tips are going to be gold and solid. And then I'm going to get into some math and try to make it as easy as possible so you can see the rent versus buy situation. Because I know a lot of you guys will be like, Victor's just trying to sell you, man. He's trying to sell you to buy a house. I'm not. I'm just keeping it real, because if you're going to be paying the same amount of money to rent versus buy, and appreciation in November of 2021 was 6.8%, and home values keep on going up, who's going to gain that 6.8% of appreciation? It's not going to be you. It's going to be your landlord. Welcome back to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Victor Huerta, local real estate agent, investor, and your mentor when you're thinking about buying, selling, or investing in some real estate here in Phoenix, Arizona. So if you have not done so, help our channel grow. Smash that subscribe button and that bell to get notified once we drop the latest video. I mean, we are just bringing some home buyer content, home seller content, the Phoenix real estate market updates, so you can be mindful when you're thinking about buying, selling, and investing in some real estate. When you meet me, folks, I am the same person as you see me on my channel. And when you see me in person, I am not the old realtor that has the young version of me on their business card. I am the same high energy, authentic, truthful individual when we meet face to face. So with that being said, let's deep dive right into this video on how to buy a house in Phoenix, Arizona when you're moving to Phoenix, Arizona. So I want to revisit this tip is don't just move here, because you're not going to have a place to live. I'm telling you straight out. If you think you're going to pack your bags, drive down here and be like, hey, Victor, I'm at your office. I want to buy a house. I'm going to be like, oh, what are you doing, my friend? Where are you going to stay? Okay. So don't pack your bags and just move here and think you're going to get it into an apartment or a house in less than 30 days, because there's some work that we need to do up front before you even do that. And it's not just because you're not moving fast, and I'm not telling you that you're slow. It is just that this housing market is crazy right now. We're still seeing multiple offers across all our listings. Apartments are packed. Okay. Rents have risen. And if you're looking for a house to rent, well, so is everybody else and their grandma. So if you are not going to be paying like $5,000 to $6,000 in rent, even that is pretty outrageous right now here in Phoenix, Arizona, but it's very competitive. It's if you think you're going to be paying $1,500 and you're going to find something right away, that is not the case, my friends. So we have to come up with a plan. Just don't move here. Okay, we have to strategize first. So tip number one is how to buy a house in Phoenix, Arizona when moving here is we have to have a meeting via Zoom or a phone call and be like, hey, so why do you want to move here? How can we make this work, etc. And the way we got to go about this is like, this goes into number two. Okay, tip number two is your timeline. Okay, when are you planning on moving here? Okay, are you going to be working remote? Where is your job site at? How many days are you going to be traveling back and forth for work? This is a timeline, because I need to know exactly like how fast we have to move, or if we have time to do a search and figure everything out. Because if we're going to move pretty quick, well, you're going to have to move pretty quick as well. And I'm okay with that, because I move fast every day anyways. So with that being said, is the second tip is timeline, right? We got to know when you're moving down here, when you're thinking about moving to Phoenix, Arizona. and thinking about buying a house here, what's your job going to look like? Where you're working at? You working in the north, south, east, or west valley? Are you commuting? Right now, the average commute is about 42 minutes. That's the average to get to and from work with the traffic. And we really need to deep dive into that timeline. So tip number one is just don't move here. I think you're going to figure it out because it is very difficult just to find a damn rental. Okay. And number two is we got to figure out that timeline. Okay. Figure out that timeline to see when you're going to leave out of state to come buy a house in Arizona and move here. It's very, very important that we kind of dial all this in and get all the fine details. All right, so let's deep dive into tip number 3 on how to buy a house in Arizona when moving to Arizona is you got to get pre-qualified, folks. And I hate to say it is you're going to have to get your credit check. You're going to have to get pre-qualified because the most important thing is knowing what you can buy here in Phoenix, Arizona. Okay, prices keep on going up. So if you are getting pre-qualified and you're around the $300,000 range, that price probably doesn't exist on where you want to live at. So we're going to have to research and do some stuff and be like, hey, there is nothing available for $300,000. So you might want to stay up where you're at and see what the market does. Or you might have to come down here and rent. So this is where we get our dollar value, right, of what you can either buy or if you're going to have to rent. And then this kind of goes back to tip number 2 is the timeline, right? So if you come down here pre-qualified for $500,000 or above, then you're probably in good shape, to be honest. Okay. Now, if you're getting pre-qualified for $300,000 and below, it's very, very difficult to pretty much impossible to find a house at that price range. I'm just being honest. Okay. So this is where we have to get the dollar amount on whether you are ready to purchase or you're going to have to rent. And what I mean, even if you're ready to purchase at $500,000 and above, right, you might have to find a short-term lease with an apartment complex or do a Airbnb or a VRBO. Now, that's the strategy that we're discussing with all our clients from out of state is you might want to come and just do an Airbnb for 390 days, right, till we find you a house if you're pre-qualified for a good amount. Then we get into the discussion of, well, should I rent for a year or should I buy right now? Well, that's going to be another tip that I want to get into as well, because the most important thing is you getting pre-qualified, okay? Because you definitely need to know the amount you can purchase here in Arizona, because it just might not work out with you. Trying to buy a house here, if you're below at least 350 is very difficult, 350,000. But if you are above 400,000 and above, then it makes things a little bit more easier. But now with the rates rising, it's going to be a little bit more difficult to purchase a house now, because as rates rise, your payment rises. That means your square footage shrinks. That means your price shrinks as well. So we got to take that all into consideration. So for the third tip is get pre-qualified. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so tip number 4 that I have for you is take some time to come visit me. I mean, really, if you're pre-qualified, you want to come down here, you have your mindset, your family's all set, like, hey, we need to get out of here. We need to go buy a house in Arizona. We have to move to Arizona. Is set up some time to come visit. I'll make time for you for an entire day, show you some homes, even if you're not going to write a contract, because I'm building that long-term relationship with you, my friend. Yes, to use me when you're ready to come down. Okay, I've done this with families in the past. I've done this with families in the past. Is the Martinez family are looking to purchase here from Washington, and I spent an entire day in Estrella Mountain over there on the west side. Shout out to Andrew. Appreciate you, brother. But anyways, I will spend the entire day with you. We'll go over scenarios. I'll show you resale homes. We can visit a couple of new construction sites. But it's your opportunity to come down to see what the city and how the city is laid out. Okay, this is why it's very important to go through that timeline that we talked about previously, is where you're going to be working, what's your time frame, location, schools, do you need to be close to a church that you love, etc. It all comes down to that, but you need to come down and visit, because the houses look nice on the internet. They look totally different when you're viewing them with your own eye, because believe me, there's a lot of Photoshop going on with these listings, and they don't look as good as they do to the naked eye. And you need to see the subdivision. You need to see the location. You need to see the surroundings. I mean, yeah, we can use Google Earth and Google Maps, but when you come down to visit out of state, it's a totally different view. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So tip number 5 is homes are selling fast. So when you find a house that you truly love and you're like, hey, I think this is the one, Victor, we need to write a contract quick. Now, you can write a contract sight unseen from wherever you're living now. Okay. But you got to remember is we're going to use some tools. We're going to use Google Earth. We're going to use Street View. We're going to use Google Maps. I might have to go drive around and look at the property for you, do some FaceTime or, do some kind of video, Zoom, and show you the property and show you the neighborhood. But now that you've been down here and you've selected like, hey, I know this area. I'm okay with this area. I'm okay to write an offer sight unseen. It doesn't matter because I've already came down and met with Victor. I came down and met with this preferred lender. I came down and met with this title rep. I came down and met with this home inspector. So I have a team behind me that I truly trust, and I trust everything that they're going to do for me and my family, and they're going to be truthful on everything and how to write the offer. Now, sight unseen offers, I've done them plenty of times. Okay. What we just got to do is just got to find the house. So if you're out of state and you're searching on my portal, my website, you're like, Victor, I found the house. This is the one my wife wants. This is the one that I want. We have to write an offer right away. Now, to piggyback on this offer writing is when these properties come up for sale, they are still selling over list price currently as of today when I shoot this video. So you might need a little extra cash to go over the asking price. Okay. There's some of my contracts I'm still doing like no home inspections, just depending on the location and the price point. Okay. There's some that we're having to waive appraisal because if a house is listed for $500,000 and we're shooting for $520,000, well, we have to waive the appraisal just in case that appraisal doesn't come back at $520,000 on that house. It's just the market right now, but it has to do with the house that you truly love and that you truly want. So if you're thinking about buying a house in Arizona and moving to Phoenix, Arizona, make sure you stack up some cash because you might have to do this in the price range that you're looking at. Okay. If you love the location, love the house, you're going to have to go all in. And you're probably thinking like, man, I don't really want to overpay. And I get it. Who does? Right? I don't like to overpay on stuff, but inflation is here. We're overpaying for our food, for Christ's sakes. We're overpaying for gas. I mean, look at the price of oil, right? So everybody's overpaying on something right now. Heck, I'm overpaying on a lot of stuff as well. But you're buying for long term now. Okay, this is not short term holds. Real estate now has to be looked at long term because of inflation, because of prices, because of interest rates. So if you're thinking you're thinking as your first house as an investment, it is an investment, but it's a long term investment now. It's not going to be short term. The short term days are over here in Phoenix, Arizona until we have a market correction. Okay, when that's going to happen? Heck, I don't know. If I knew, I wouldn't be shooting these YouTube videos. I'd be in my private island in the Caribbean. So with that being said is look at your house as a long-term investment. Okay, stop thinking short-term because short-term is gone. So those tips are crazy is like have a team that's going to have your back, a lender, your real estate agent. You're looking at them right here, your title rep. Okay, your home inspector. Okay, then you got to get into that timeline, right? Hey, what's your timeline that you're looking at to coming here to purchase a house when moving to Phoenix, Arizona, right? And then you want to get pre-qualified because getting pre-qualified is going to show you how to buy a house in Phoenix, Arizona when moving to Phoenix, Arizona. And then you got to come down to Phoenix, Arizona and visit. If you're going to move here, I suggest after we've done the top 3, this is the 4th tip on how to buy a house in Arizona when moving to Phoenix, Arizona, is come visit, come to my office. I'll meet you at a Starbucks, wherever you want to be. We can hang out the whole day, show you some properties, show you some locations, and now you can have a good visual view of what Phoenix looks like and the location you're looking to buy. Because you might be thinking like, yeah, I want to purchase in North Phoenix, and then you're like, man, that drive is crazy to come all the way down to Chandler, and then you'd be like, well, that's the wrong place you want to live at. Maybe we should look at Queen Creek or Santan, right? It's all going to depend on the price range, which goes into the pre-qualification, right? That's why it's very important to get pre-qualified as well, and then the offer writing. Like, you don't have to be in Arizona to write an offer. We could do a sight unseen offer just as long as you're okay with the house, the location, the way it looks, etc. So that's why it's very important to just take a weekend trip down here and fly down. So if you're thinking about how to buy a house in Phoenix, Arizona when moving to Phoenix, Arizona, well, my friend, this is the video for you. And all my information is below. Once again, Victor Huerta, local real estate agent and investor, and your mentor here when you're thinking about buying, selling, or investing in some real estate. So with that being said, smash that subscribe button and that bell to get notified once I drop the latest video. I mean, look at this. I'm just bringing you some hot tips on home buyer tips, home seller tips, the Phoenix real estate market updates. So you can be mindful when you're thinking about buying, selling, and investing in some real estate. We'll see you guys on the next video.
If you have any questions, email me at victor@freeagentproperties.com. Again, that email address is victor@freeagentproperties.com, where we release new videos each week on home buyer tips, home seller tips, the Phoenix housing market updates, so you can be mindful when you're thinking about buying, selling, or investing in real estate. We will talk to you soon.